Hello, boys and girls. This is James Rubiolo, and welcome to episode 3 of Unpacking House Music. It's my new podcast where I speak to DJs, producers, nightclub owners, and more on how they got to where they are and how they plan on getting to where they're headed. So I designed this podcast to be beginner friendly. So for anyone interested in getting into the house music, or for those who are already in it, it's a great resource where I kind of interview people that have already done it to see what we can learn for ourselves on our own journeys. So this week is a really interesting episode. I spoke to BTAY. He's an English house music producer with residencies in Ibiza and regular shows around Europe pre-pandemic. His music bridges the gap between vocal and tech house with uplifting pianos, synths, and vocals. I was actually a fan of his before reaching out to him, so pretty happy that he got back to me. In this episode, we break down imposter syndrome in the industry, which is like where you feel like you're not welcome or something, and everyone's better than you. How he got his break in Ibiza to start playing shows there, and how to self-release and market your own music, and much more. So hope you enjoy. BTAY, welcome.
Thank you very much. What's going on?
Not much, man. How are you?
As good as you can be in a lockdown in England, but
Yeah.
I'm all good.
Yeah,
You seem to be living a lot better of a life than I am at the minute, mate.
I was actually bragging to you yesterday about how we've had 0 cases for a long time. We just had a 17 case breakout in the other side of Sydney. So
Right, okay.
but we will lock down if there's 50 cases. So it's kind of all about perspective and stuff like that.
So with your lockdown, is it complete lockdown? No one goes to work, or is it just hospitality that closes?
There's 4 levels. So we got up to level 4 back in April. And it was just like you can't leave unless you have like an essential job to do, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it wasn't too bad. I live in Bondi, so it's close to the beach, the beaches were closed actually, but there was little pockets where you could sort of go for a swim by the rocks and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good.
I suppose being over there, it's more of like an outdoor lifestyle. So like, whereas here we don't really have the weather. I mean, are you going into summer now?
Yeah, it's 2 weeks into summer. So,
Yeah,
but we have El Nino, which is like it's like the cold weather system that comes from South America rather than El Nino. So we're getting a lot of rain this summer.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet you any money it's not as bad as the rain that we're getting, mate.
Yeah, man. So you're from Birmingham, and that's where you live now?
So I'm from a town called Burton-on-Trent. So that's like you've got Birmingham, Burton, and Derby. So like we're in the middle, basically in the middle of the country. If you look at the UK map, Burton-on-Trent is like bang in the middle.
Okay. So you have a place there where you live. You live by yourself, do you, or?
Yeah, no. So I was living in Manchester at the start of the pandemic. Had an apartment there, and then obviously when lockdown happened, it was like a 2-bed apartment, and I was there with one other guy. And I thought, well, I can either lock down here, where like I'd only just moved, so like none of my friends were up there or anything. Like I had a few friends, but like like my family and my friends are all in Burton, so I moved back in with my parents. Just for what we thought was going to be like a 3-week lockdown. And then obviously we're like 9 months in now and we're still in the lockdown. So
Okay.
as soon as obviously this all goes back, I'll either be going back to Manchester or another city.
In the UK.
Yeah. Then hopefully if we do get a summer next year, like Ibiza and everywhere's open, I'm hoping to either base myself back in Cyprus or Ibiza.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I was looking to do that. Back in March to do the season in Ibiza. Have you lived there for an extended period of time before, or just sort of flown in and out?
So I've not lived in Ibiza for a long period of time. I've usually I usually go there with the intent of staying for like 4 days or whatever, and then you always miss that return flight. I'm sure you've done the same if you've been there. Like you always miss that return flight for an extra couple of days. But no, I normally live in Cyprus, so I run events in a place called Ayia Napa, Not sure if
Yeah.
you've heard of that.
Yeah, I haven't been to Cyprus, but yeah, I considered going to that place. Yeah.
Yeah. So I run weekly events there and then fly in and out for my Ibiza gigs. But if, like I say, it all just depends on the social distancing. Because if next year Ibiza is less strict than Cyprus, I'll probably go to Ibiza and just visit Cyprus. You know what I mean? I'll do it like the opposite way around.
Yeah. Okay. I
But
remember
we'll see.
I watched an interview of in 2017 of you, and yeah, you didn't mention Ibiza back then. So is gigs like in Ibiza like a recent thing for you, like the past year or two?
2018 was my first one there. I got brought in by a friend of mine called DJ Rusky. He's like a huge R&B hip hop like urban DJ in the UK.
Mm.
And the guys that we work for, Boat Club, they they are predominantly a house brand, but they bring Rusky over as like to add like an urban feel to it. So yeah, I spoke to him one day and was like, bro, I really want to get involved in Ibiza. Do you know anyone who I could speak to? And to be fair to him, he made a phone call and said, I've got you a trial. So
Nice.
yeah, I
Yeah, you just
mean,
have to
that
ask,
was
and then it happens.
sometimes, yeah, I think that's what a lot of it is in this industry. Everyone's like, they're afraid to ask, like out of
Yeah,
fear of seeming desperate. Do you know what I mean? But really, like, if you
yeah,
don't ask, you don't get. So that's what I've learned.
yeah, yeah. Which is sort of so it's me. I've been producing for like 3, 4 years.
Hmm.
I started DJing like 10 years ago,
Right.
and I've experienced a lot of that sort of thing. And I think a lot of people coming into the industry at any level, even like at the top level, probably have some sort of what's the thing called again? Imposter syndrome, where you feel
I'm
like you don't
so
belong
glad
there.
you've
So
mentioned this because this is
yeah,
something that this is something that I was literally thinking about 5 minutes ago when I was getting ready for this.
yeah.
I wanted to touch on like the imposter syndrome
Mm.
type of thing in the event because it's massive, it's huge.
Do you think it's founded at all? Like, do you think there's any like stuck up people or something at the top that are like, oh, those people that haven't made it yet or something don't deserve
The
to make it? Or
gatekeepers.
is that a thing, or is that in our like subconscious mind?
See, I think if you can think about it in your head, there's got to be some truth behind it. Do you know what I mean? It's not completely
Yeah.
fabricated. There are definitely gatekeepers in the industry, definitely, and it's more like I would say it's probably more of the promoters that are the gatekeepers rather than the DJs. The DJs will play for the most part wherever. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But yeah, there's a lot of it that goes on. Like this guy's not earned his stripes, or maybe even like on the opposite end of the spectrum, like he's a friend of mine, or that's my friend's brother, and I'll give him the leg up rather than this
That's right.
person.
Yeah, yeah,
So there's a lot of that, and with the industry, like as you've probably known yourself, a lot of it is through who you know rather than your actual skill, which is what I've
yeah.
found, which can be frustrating. But at the end of the day, like it's like that in any industry. I mean, I don't
True.
know if
Yeah.
you've got, yeah, if if you're putting an event on and your best friend says, I want to come and DJ for you, but then the next guy comes and says, no, I want to play. You're gonna go with your best friend. It's the way it works.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and in that interview in 2017, you spoke about like having a goal and manifesting it. You listen to Bob Proctor.
Hmm.
What is Bob Proctor's sort of title? Is he like what is it? He's an
I'd
inspirational
say,
talker, would you say? Or
yeah, motivational speaker, life coach, incredible businessman as well. He was sort of the person who kind of introduced me to like the law of attraction and manifestation and things like that. Since then, I don't watch so much of the motivational stuff because not that I know it all. It's the fact that like, okay, I know my own beliefs now. I know what I need to do to get where I want to be.
yeah.
And, if you watch too much of it, it
Mm.
certain things can contradict themselves. Do you know what I mean? So I've sort of like created my sort of set of beliefs, if you will. And
Yep.
I'm running with that now. So instead of watching them videos, I just watch production videos now.
Yeah, cool. Similar with me. Yeah, I used to actually, there's like a 10-minute one, and it's like close your eyes, feel yourself, you know, achieving what you want to do
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
make it real. And it really seems like it's true. I guess because or it's not like it's a woo woo thing, but it's like if your brain can see something happening, then it's a whole lot more likely that you'll achieve that because
because
you've
you've been in
exposed your
that
brain
space
to that.
before.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, your brain can't decipher what's real and what's not. So like you give it this thought, it's going to believe it's true. You give it that thought, it's going to believe it's true. So like, you've just got to choose what you sort of feed your brain, sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So what is your goal, like your ultimate sort of goal in this? Do you want to be up there with sort of MK sort of radio or like a little bit more clubby?
Well, it's funny you should say that. I've always said to myself that like when people say, "Oh, what type of music do you play?" or "What type of music do you make?" I would always just say I'm dance music rather than I wouldn't just say like I'm tech house, I'm vocal house, I'm like I would always say like I'm dance music. I just make music that I like and hope other people like it as well. So like
Mm.
I would say it's hard to put like my name on a stand, like, do you know what I mean? It's hard to put my
Yeah,
name
yeah.
somewhere like, oh, he's like him or he's like him. I'm just trying to try, because if you look at Get Together, the track that I brought out,
Yeah,
not
that's
the
my
last one,
favorite
but the
one
one
of
before,
yours.
so like that's quite a clubby driven track, whereas the one after, the You're Not the One, that's more of like a radio friendly track. So I'm trying to sort of juggle both things, do you know what I mean, and be like credible for the
Mm.
clubs but also radio friendly, because at the end of the day the radio will make you a household name, but the clubby stuff will get you the festivals and like the more well respected gigs sort of thing. So I'm
Yeah,
trying to I'm in a sort of balancing act between the two. But yeah, definitely
yeah,
like MK's, Camel Fat, Salado, Calvin Harris, like you just got to think big.
yeah. Nice.
I'm,
Um,
I'm definitely like, I'm not half-hearted in it. It's all or nothing. Do you know what I mean? I've been
yeah,
going at it for quite a while now. So like, if I don't get there, it's been a waste of time.
yeah, yeah. Well, you've already gotten part of the way, so I guess that's not a waste of time, right?
Yeah. I mean, you could say I've had some success with it, but like it's nowhere near compared to like, I feel like I'm probably like 0.1% of where I actually want to be. But I was
Yeah,
having this
okay.
conversation with one of my other friends who's a DJ, and we were saying like, because he's seen reasonable success with his tracks at the minute, and like we were saying, it's crazy to think that like I used to sit there on, I don't, if you release music yourself,
Yeah.
so like on the Spotify for Artists platform, so you can
Mm.
see how many streams you've got and stuff. I used to sit there and I was like waiting for that, that like little less than 1,000 thing on Spotify when your tracks
Yeah,
have got less
yeah.
than 1,000 streams. I used to sit there thinking like I used to hate looking at it, thinking I can't wait for the day that goes to 1,001 plays, and
Mm.
like it gets rid of that little dreaded symbol. And then now, like I was speaking to Reese, my manager, the other day, and I was saying like it'll get 1,000 plays a day minimum, and like in the first day you'll get like 2-3 thousand plays, and like even though that's still small in the grand scheme of things, it's crazy to think that like a couple of months ago you were thinking please get rid of that like little less than 1,000
Yeah,
symbol,
wow.
and then
Wow.
like once you get it, it's like okay, I've got 2,000 plays in the first day, whatever.
Mm.
Now I want 5,000. Then when you get 5,000, you'll be like,
Yeah.
okay, now I want 10. And it's just a never-ending like
Like
cycle.
anything
You
in
know what I mean?
life, yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But you've got to have the next goal. Else, if you stay
Yeah,
stagnant,
definitely.
well, you
That's
stand
how the
still.
human race got to where we are, for better or
Hmm.
worse. Um,
Definitely.
so I want to talk to you about like self-releasing a bit later, but first, let's take it back to um, when you first started producing. So you're 25 now, right?
Yes, yes.
And when did you first start?
So I've sort of dabbled in producing since I was about 19, 20. Yeah, I'd say like 19 was where I first put out like a track on SoundCloud with one of my friends. Still didn't really know what I was doing or anything. Um, and I remember like what we were talking about the other day when you were saying like, what would you say to yourself, you former self sort of thing. And that would be the one thing that I would say, like, get into producing early, because
Mm,
it's something that I've had to learn later on. Whereas like if I started DJing when I was 15.
yeah.
If I started producing when I was 15, I'd be
Mm,
in a much better, I'd be 10 years in the game now of production. Whereas like now I'm sort of like 5 or 6. I'm still
right.
learning every day and like still buying new kit and learning different programs and all that sort of stuff. But if someone told me when I first started at 15, yes, the DJing's cool, you're going to look cool in clubs and stuff, but learn how to produce music, because that's where you're really going to make a name. I would
Yeah.
have I would have really focused on that. But yeah, so I'd say like I really got into it around 19, 20, and then just been learning that. So
Yeah, nice. I have a bit of a different, well, I guess it's the same trajectory, but I was DJing 18 to 20. I
hmm
downloaded Ableton, tried to watch tutorials, had like the attention span of a pea, so I just like gave up. And then I just sort of put it on the too hard list. And then I picked it up again when I was like 26, 27. Now I'm 29. Must have been when I was 26. And I was just sort of thinking like, oh, damn, wish I just kept doing it all that time. But maybe I wasn't mature enough, and maybe I would have just given up 3 years in when I didn't have any success or something. Maybe I'm more mature now to do it properly.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the time, a lot of the main hurdle that I struggled to get over was knowing what to actually search for. Like what I always find, I always laugh now that like I'd sit there and I'd be like, right, I'm going to learn something new today. And I always used to find myself typing tutorial on compression, because I just thought like, oh, okay, if you know compression, what compression is, that sounds really cool. If you know that, then
Yeah.
you've learned something today. And I just used to watch the same video over and over and think like, I'm still not getting this. So
Oh,
like,
without a direction. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So like I never knew what to actually search. And
Mm.
then once I started spending time with more producers in their studios, and I feel like that was the turning point there where I was like, okay, well, I'll just watch how he does it and then pick it up from there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if you're staring at like YouTube, it's just an absolute minefield, a rabbit hole of everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're never going to find what you actually want to find. Do you know what I mean?
So for like a new producer or someone who's already been doing it for a while, how would you summarize like the process you've taken? I know you'll be oversimplifying it, but like into 3 steps or something, like download a program, watch
Okay, what's
YouTube,
from my
and then what,
right? Okay, I've got you. Yeah. So yeah, just download a program on your DAW, like your Logics, your Abletons. Always buy that. I would say don't get the crack copy. Take the plunge and buy it, because if you've made that commitment to part with your money, you're a lot more likely to learn the product. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So if you just get a crack copy, you'll be like, oh, I got it for free anyway. But if you've spent £200 on it, it's like, right, okay, I bought it now. I've got to learn it.
Yep.
And then yeah, literally it's just basics on YouTube. Just master the basics, just basics of Logic, shortcuts of Logic, or whatever you use. I use Logic, so I'll say Logic. Yeah, just master the shortcuts, find your own sort of little way, and then go onto your plugins. Don't try and like get everything at once, because it's quite daunting. All the presets, I've got hundreds of thousands of presets that I'll never ever use, because
Yeah.
when I first started, someone gave me a hard drive full of 54,000 massive presets, and I'm
Overwhelming.
never
Yeah.
going to go. Yeah, exactly. So like I feel like sometimes less is more. So like master the basics, learn them, and then sort of progress at your own rate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about you?
And
How did you start?
I mean, I think I must have cracked Ableton. That was probably one of the failures, because I'm the same thing. I need to buy something, and I tried to learn it myself. I should have just done a course or something. And then when I was living in Sweden, I had a friend who would teach me how to use Logic a bit, and then I did a basic course, and then an advanced course. So I learned all the shortcuts straight away. So that was like so good. And then it was probably only like 1 or 2 hour sessions times 6 for each course. So after maybe like 30 hours being in front of the computer, you pretty much know how to use the program. And then
Was that with someone, or was that over like video call?
It was in a class, so there was like
Right.
A teacher and 6 students, and we would go there, and we would just bring our computer, plug it into the display, and so on. So yeah, I would recommend for people who don't like learning hard stuff themselves, just pay for a course if you can as well.
Yeah. To be fair, since you just said that, it's reminded me, when I was 19, I did a beginner and an intermediate course in Logic.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, like it does improve you tenfold if you've got somebody that this was one-to-one as well. So I could ask, oh, I want to make this sound. I used to always reference Sonny Fodera always. He's an Aussie, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
So like I'd always say, oh, I want to make this bass synth, and he'd go, okay, well, this is how I would do it. And then from that, you if you've got someone there showing it, then it does become a lot easier. So, that's, I think the main thing I would take from it is invest in your craft. If it's something that you want to do, spend the money on it, like, because it's making not only a commitment and you're getting the product, you're actually showing commitment by, outlaying your hard-earned money. So it shows dedication. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. And then what about beyond learning? So you set a goal. I want to be roughly around this sort of category of artists. Yes, but you have to choose a bit of a category, right? To sort of,
of course. Yeah.
And then what do you look for after that? So you make tracks, just send them to labels, or?
Well, this is where I've done things quite differently compared to a lot of other DJs and producers. I've decided to go down after having a few rejections and not back from different labels. I had a bit of success from labels, so I'd make say 6 or 7 demos. I would send them out to the labels which I thought were going to fit that sound.
Yeah.
I think I have 3 or 4 tracks signed to labels before I decided to do the self-release thing. Because I realized with the smaller labels, yes, it looks quite cool to be signed to a label and have the photo. I've done it, have the photo signed in the thing, and it looks like you just signed a pro contract for United or so that's all cool. But then you realize you read the contract, and usually the contracts aren't even worth the paper they're written on, but you're giving away 50% of your masters straight away. And which is fine if it's a big label and they're willing to invest in you. It's great. I'm not against signing to labels if they're willing to, actually invest time and money into your project. But a lot of the labels that I was speaking to, it was, we'll take 50%, but we're not willing to invest any money into this project. So I quickly realized well, it's not going to get anywhere then. There's only so much organic hype that you can actually build in this day and age. You've got to be willing to put some money on social media advertising and an actual promo campaign, publishing campaign and stuff. There was none of that from the small labels that were, signing my tracks. So I just quickly made that decision. Okay, well, if they want 50% to do nothing, I'll take 100% and do it all myself, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm doing it all myself anyway, so I might as well not give away 50% of the
track. Of course, yeah.
So and that was it really. I think what have I released, 5 now, I think, self-release tracks, and thankfully they're climbing each one. Everyone's getting stronger. With Get Together, that's performed the best. That's hit nearly 250,000 plays now overall on everything. And for a self-release, I'm buzzing with that. It's really good.
It's crazy, man. Did you do something differently with that release to the others?
This is what I was about to say. So I started with my manager in March, Reese is an old friend of mine, very well respected in the industry as a videographer. And we decided, okay, let's become sort of a manager and artist type thing, see how we get on. He's really good with social media, works with Sony and big people.
I think I followed this guy.
EV Pro.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah. So everybody at EV Pro _ give him a follow. He'll like that. Yeah. So we were talking about it and we were saying, okay, you've had okay success with your self-releases so far. How do you want to do it differently? Set goals. And we set a budget aside. This was the first time that I'd set a decent amount of money aside to go into social media campaigns and adverts and swipe up ads for Instagram and things. And it just performed really well. And MK got hold of it and put it in his 2 playlists that he's got on Spotify, which was great. That Spotify.
That might have been how I found you, actually.
Probably, yeah.
No, wait, I found you from the piano one that I put on my story with the sunrise. Do you remember what that one was called?
Yeah. Was that called
Get Together?
Playlist? The track was Get Together.
Maybe.
Yeah. Oh no. The track was Closing Doors.
Closing Doors, yeah. It must have
Yeah.
been from a Spotify playlist somehow.
See, MK added that one as well to his playlist, so it's
Yeah, that's
probably
where I found it. I added it
yeah.
to
Because
my
I was
own.
going to ask you how you came about to hearing the tracks.
Yeah, Closing Doors, such a good track. Okay, so you set aside a budget, um,
Yeah.
like
So
a big
we
budget, or
no. It was like, what did we set aside? I think it was like £500. Which it's the biggest budget that I'd set aside for a single track so
yeah,
far. But we just thought, you know what, like I've lost all my gigs this summer because of the pandemic. I've got nothing else to sort of promote. Let's go for this one,
mm,
which we did. Really, Get Together was going to be the track that set up You're Not the One, and it just so happened that what we were going to do, we was going to do Get Together, and then 4 weeks later drop You're Not the One. But because Get Together
mm,
started performing so well, we thought, right, we'll leave it a little bit and see how far we can get it.
right,
And then yeah, when we hit 100k on Spotify, I thought, wow, like this is going better than I
cool.
thought really. So I was really happy with that. And then yeah, we've sort of just followed that same process with You're Not the One. Bit of a funny time to be like release a track, to be honest, with Christmas and everything coming up. So
Yeah.
the campaign was actually shorter for that one, but we're going to resume that in January and hopefully get some fresh ears in it in January.
Okay. So that £500 was spent across just Insta, or
Insta and Facebook.
okay. So they get a
Yeah.
swipe up ad preview 15 seconds.
Yes. What I did as well, I thought to try and make it a little bit more organic, I videoed myself doing like yo, this is BTAY, my new track Get Together's out now, swipe up to listen.
Oh,
Because I
cool.
thought the amount of times that I go on Instagram and I see just a created advert and I know it's an advert straight away, so I just swipe. And
Yeah.
I thought if I put my face on it, as if I'm just walking and like talking like a normal Instagram story video,
Yeah.
people are more likely to engage. And it worked, to be fair. I had the backing track just low, and then when I said swipe up, the track came on like loud.
Nice, nice.
So yeah, that was like just a different sort of marketing idea, and it definitely worked because
Cool.
you can see your click throughs and everything. It worked. So
Okay.
yeah,
So was that all you guys did, or you said something about a publishing? What did you say? A publishing campaign?
no. So that was just something that I was saying labels don't really do.
Oh, okay.
We did no, we didn't contact any publishers. Were getting in touch saying, "Oh, we want to take this track on," but to be fair, like the money they were asking and what they could offer, we just thought, well, we could probably do that ourselves anyway. We've got
Mm.
decent contacts in radio and stuff, so yeah, we just thought we'll try and do this one on our own.
So you just emailed it out to sort of all the spots that you thought it could go out on, basically.
Yeah.
Spent like a
All the
day doing that
DJs
sort of thing, or yeah,
spent more than a day. Yeah,
yeah,
every time that like basically I created a list and my manager created a list
yeah.
and yeah, it took ages. So Instagram DM and email because I thought if I DM them and email them, they'll see it twice and probably be more inclined to listen to it.
Smart. Okay. Okay. So send it out to who are we talking? Send it out to like music blogs and
Music blogs, radio DJs, other DJs just in the industry, because a lot of people were doing live streams at that time. We just thought, right, we'll give it to everybody for free
yeah.
and then hopefully get some success from that way.
Okay. And does it matter who you self-release through, like CD Baby or anything like that, or do you think it's all?
This is something that I've done a lot of research on. Again, with YouTube and everything, comparisons. I've used in the past TuneCore. Didn't really like that. I don't like the fact that you have to pay every year per track. It's like £7 per year per track.
Oh, to
So
just to
over
keep it
the
live forever.
just to keep it live, yeah. So
Okay.
like, I did two with them, and then I sort of thought, well, there's got to be a better way than this.
Mm.
So now I release my tracks through AWAL, which is AWAL, stands for Artists Without a Label. But they don't take on everybody. So like they'll do like you have to send a
Okay.
submission, obviously give you social media and that, what you're up to in your career, how far along your career you are, and
Right.
then they decide whether or not to distro you. They've got like, have you heard of like a rapper called AJ Tracy?
No.
very big rapper in the UK, probably one of the biggest. He's also independent. He's like one of the pioneers for independent artists at the minute.
Okay.
I'll actually send you a podcast he did for JD Sports, and he sort of breaks down his reasoning for being a independent artist as well. So that's quite good.
Cool.
So yeah, they release tracks for some quite well respected artists. So I was quite lucky to get on with them. And they just take a flat 15% of the track, which I thought was great. It doesn't cost anything to upload, and they've also got good contacts with Spotify to get playlist submissions as well.
Isn't that kind of like a label then, if they're taking a cut and using their...
Yeah, it is, but you decide everything. So the label, a label would say, we can't put your track here because we're releasing here. Do you know what I mean? So it gives you some of the good points of a label without actually being a label. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you still own your masters as well.
Okay, and they don't only do like a specific genre. They'll just do sort of a
No,
bunch.
they do.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah, if the music's good, they'll take it on.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, man.
Do you think we covered everything on that topic? I don't want to miss any big parts. Anything else to say about self-releasing?
Yeah, another big part about self-releasing that I thought is like another big thing that I would say if anyone was trying to go into like down the self-releasing route is don't be afraid to obviously just invest in yourself and just get out there, because a label is never going to be able to push you as much as you can push yourself. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, your Instagram, your social media, and that you've got to be on it. You've got to be, regular content, and you've got to be releasing music regularly as well. So I've set a goal next year in 2021 to release either not a track a month, but 12 tracks over the year. So like one month I might release 2 tracks, another month I might release 1 track. I just want to get 12 singles out, and then see where we go from there. So yeah, I don't know if you saw my Spotify. You get your Spotify Wrapped, the streams and everything.
I didn't catch it. No.
So this year, I think the last year I got like 55,000 streams. This year, just shy of 250,000. So like next year, I've already set my goal of what I want for next year, and then hopefully next year we'll.
You want to tell us what the goal is, or
not yet? I'll tell you when I've hit it.
It's definitely 1 million.
I've wrote it down.
Okay.
I'll speak to you in a year when I've got it.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, and a lot of artists, when they're starting out, they're really keen to release as soon as possible. Do you have a way to, like, how did you know that your music was good enough to self-release? I mean, obviously you have self-belief. Oh, okay. So you mean you made a few mistakes, or you reckon just jumping into it?
Yeah. I still do now. I still don't like listening to my music now, because I just pick faults. It'll come on in like the gym or in a restaurant or something like that, and I'll be like, it's too quiet. I hate the way the piano sounds or something like that. But other people don't pick that up. You're always going to be your own worst critic.
Yeah.
But no, one piece of advice I would give is just get music out, just get it out, because you'll learn along the way. If you keep waiting for that perfect track, you'll never release anything, because there's no such thing.
Right. Okay. And I guess if you're self-releasing anyway, you can always just take it down. I just heard. I did like the Tool Room Records, the Academy production thing, and Pete was saying that sometimes if you release through like a smaller label, when you then get pretty big, that label they own the master, so they can just like delete it and keep releasing it while you're trying to promote this other one to keep making sales. So
yeah,
I guess that's something to be careful of. Yeah,
it's a dangerous position to be in. That's why I always find that, not always, but if you are going to sign to a label, make sure that contract is bulletproof.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so some bonus questions and then we'll finish up. What's the most common question you get asked?
you know what? It's common question I get asked. I don't really know. There's not one question that I could say like someone asks me all the time. To be fair, probably when I say like what I do as a job and sort of where I've played and stuff, the one thing everyone always says is, "Do you get nervous? Do you get nervous?"
Yeah.
That's always something that people are always interested in, and I can hand on heart say, and anyone will tell you who's been to a gig with me, never. I
You
don't know
don't
what
get
it is.
nervous?
Never. I don't know what. I don't know why. It's not that it doesn't mean anything to me or anything like that. It means the world to me when I'm there, and it's nothing I love more. But
Mm.
I've played in front of 10 people, and I've played in front of 3,000, 4,000 people, 5,000 people, and it's the same feeling. It's just like you go there, you do your job, and you come off. I've never really been one to suffer with nerves, which is thank God, because I get nervous about other things, but when it comes to DJing, it's sort of like you've put in all the hard work,
Yeah.
in the studio and the practice hours. So you've just got to go and enjoy it now.
Yeah, I think there's a quote from Floyd Mayweather or Conor McGregor or something, and they said something similar. And he's like, "Well, I've either put in the preparation or I haven't. And I know that I have, so therefore I'm not nervous."
Exactly. Yeah.
Good
If you
summary.
know if you know that you've put the hours in and you deserve to be up there for one, then you deserve to be up there. Simple as that. You shouldn't be nervous.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay, what question do you wish you knew the answer to 5 years ago? So that would have been when you were 20, just what, a year or so after you started producing?
Yeah, yeah. That was the year that I went self-employed as well as a full-time DJ. That's when I quit. Um, so, what was the question? I wish I knew the answer to. I mean, it probably goes back to what I was saying. I wish I knew a lot more about music production and produce like that sort of stuff. There's not really a question that I would say I wish I knew the answer to. It was just I wish I knew. I wish that I could have told my past self to focus on this and like you know really give it your all into the music production side of things, not just the DJing side.
Right.
I think I was too caught up in like probably, I was 20, I was trying to look cool, be the DJ. And this was like, basically I had an apprenticeship in electrical engineering.
Mm.
Didn't like it, but my parents were like, you've got to have a qualification, you need a backup plan and all this. And I've never really believed in backup plans, but they wanted me to do it. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Did it. And then the day I got my certificate, I handed my notice in and said, right, you knew this day was coming, I'm going to be a DJ. Flew straight out to Cyprus to do a residency out there, and I feel like I probably got caught up in the lifestyle a little bit too much and thought didn't really put the hours in the studio that I probably should have done, and was too busy, enjoying the parties and stuff like that. So I probably like wouldn't. There's not really a question I wish I knew. I wish I just told myself knuckle down, because 5 years have just gone like that, and
Yeah.
like now I'm only just sort of having a little bit of success with the music production of my own tracks. I
Yeah.
feel like if I really dedicated myself and did more courses and things like that for production, things might have been a little bit different by now. But you go at your own pace, don't you?
Okay, so you feel like you haven't achieved as much as you could have. I guess that's what everyone feels.
Yeah. When
Yeah.
I feel like you're probably the same. Like you're
Mm.
never going to be happy with the level that you're at the minute. And
Yeah.
you're always going to want for more. And you always think, what if I didn't do this? What if I didn't do this? But, you know, you're running your own race. I'm running my own race. And it's, we might end up at the same place together, but you might be 5 years ahead. And do you know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
hard getting out of that, especially in this industry, because you'll see people that started after you probably get to a higher level than you, or you'll see people that you've sort of joined at the same time and they're going this way and you're going this way, and you think, should I be going with them? Do you know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
it's hard to remember to stay in your own lane, but
Mm.
you have to.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, what's one thing that surprised you about your journey?
One thing that surprised me. Um, I feel like this year more than anything, I've surprised myself on how resilient I can be. With obviously the pandemic and losing all my work, I really thought that would, obviously it's affected me, it's affected everybody. But I would say that I've been quite impressed with the way that I've just carried on. Do you know what I mean? I've found new ways to earn money. I've sort of not got too hung up on the fact that, the nightlife industry is done for the time being.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, like I've surprised myself that, this year has just been a shock for everybody, but I'm surprised and I'm proud of myself that I've like remained resilient and I've kept, regimented in the studio. I've kept making music. I thought that like when the first lockdown happened, I thought, right, I'm done with this. I thought that's what my thought process would be,
Yeah.
but I've stuck to it and I've made loads more music for when the clubs do open and stuff. So yeah, I would say like I've surprised myself with how I've dealt with this whole pandemic thing.
Yeah. Good on you.
Yeah, man. What about you?
Um, what's one thing that surprised me about the journey?
Caught you off guard now, haven't I?
Um, I used to look at DJs like on the stage, and it's like I'm just like a punter down here. Like how do they do that? But then all you just need to do is just learn how to do it, and then
Yeah,
get reference tracks of what you want to make, and keep doing that, and then make some yourself, and then you just sort of figure it out. And I was also
yeah.
like, are these guys like Avicii? And I used to be mad into EDM in 2012,
So
like
did I.
Avicii,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Avicii, Porter Robinson. And I was just like, are they just super talented, or do we all have this talent? And I think that we all have an innate talent. Like everyone walking around, maybe it's not musically, but I think a lot of us do, because it's um, like it's not just coming from our brain or something. It's like it's coming from somewhere else. This
Yeah.
like cats and dogs, they can tell what songs are pleasant to listen to. So that there must be like something bigger.
Something. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Like why do some notes just work and some just don't?
Yeah,
So I think that it's not whether you have talent or not, it's whether it's persistence, and it's whether you can whether you believe that you can do it or not, sort of thing. So a lot of people will be like, oh, how do
yeah,
you do that? Like, how do you even do that? Or isn't that hard? Like they look at the thing and say, oh, it's too complicated. But it's not really. Like nothing's too complicated. You just got to like work at
no,
it.
you just got to
So,
break it down into smaller chunks. That's what I always
yeah.
do. So
Yeah,
like
exactly.
with the music production, it was like, okay, I don't know how to make a beat. Well, let's start with a kick drum. Bam, bam, bam. Right, I've got that hi hat, and then you
Mm,
just build it. And it's the same as how I make it today. Like if I'm
mm,
staring at a blank screen, it's okay. We'll start with the basics, and you start
yeah.
with the basics, and before you know it, you add to it, and you add to it, and yeah, it's just
Yeah. And if it doesn't sound like you want it to, then you kind of just ask someone or watch a video or something, and then you
yeah.
slowly get to where it should be.
That's another thing that I would say as well about when we were talking about production earlier on. Don't be too scared to try new things. Like at the end of the day, with these, with Logic and stuff like that, it's not like the '90s anymore where you're making it on tapes and it's permanent. You literally just delete it. You can just start again. Like
Yeah.
don't feel like you're just married to that one thing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So like, okay, you might try something. Okay, it sounds shit. Delete. Start again. Like
yeah.
don't feel like just because you've played it in or just because you've typed it in or dragged that audio in, don't feel married to that thing. You can just start again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
Last one I want to ask is if you can make one prediction for the future of this scene, or one amazing thing you'd like to see, what might that be?
the return of it.
Yeah. Okay.
um, yeah, no, especially in the UK. I mean, I've seen a few videos on Twitter and that, and it seems like your party scene's slowly coming back. Am I right?
Yeah, we got dance floors allowed for 50 people, but actually in Perth they've had 0 cases for like 4 months or something, and they've had like mini festivals and stuff.
So the way I hope to see the scene going is how you're dealing with it now. I'm
Yeah.
hoping like if I can get a summer away next year, that would be a miracle.
Mm,
Um, And yeah, I just feel like I hope the one good thing that comes out of this is it will filter out the people who are only in it for the scene, and it will leave behind the people who are in it for the right reasons. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
the reason that I'm in this is because I love making music. I love making people dance. I love seeing people's faces when they enjoy music. It's just
Yeah.
something that, that's what keeps me going. So I feel like this whole thing will kind of like filter out the ones, okay, that were, I like music, I like DJing and stuff, but the people who are really in it for the right reasons, that
Yeah.
will get left behind. You know what I mean? Will remain, should I say?
That's true. Yeah, because and even the people that are starting to produce now, they're not seeing like, oh, look at those parties with the bottle service and that looks so cool. It's only
Yeah,
about
yeah,
the
yeah.
music now because there's no like carrot right in front of you. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, you're right. I couldn't have put it
good
better
point.
myself, to be honest.
There's always a when something bad happens, there's always something good on the other side. My friend was
Yeah,
saying
yeah, yeah.
how like in the 50s, like sexuality was like super oppressed, and then in the 60s, I think it was the swinging 60s, so there's always like a down and then an up. So maybe there'll be
Yeah,
a big rave thing in 2022,
I'm
you know.
hoping so. 2021, hopefully.
But imagine when in 1 year, when sort of most of the Western world is vaccinated, that there'll be less and less reasons to disallow big gatherings, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And then
Definitely.
everyone will be just like partying all the time.
I feel
Maybe,
like this
yeah,
industry is going to take such a hit, but then it's gonna have such a boom after it when we come out. Everyone's going to want to go out. No one's going to take for granted the fact that they can just go down to their local pub or
yeah,
go to their rave, like, in the city, next to them. I
yeah.
definitely won't. Sometimes I would like, if I didn't have a gig and just had a night off, I would say, oh no, my friends would be going out. I'm just going to have a night off. That's
Mm.
not happening. That's not happening when this comes back, mate. I think
Yeah, yeah,
everyone's going to be full throttle, like
yeah, yeah.
back out. Hopefully,
Well, it's like anything, right? Like the stock market goes down and then it comes back up and people feel better about
yeah,
it. So,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
cool.
Yeah, 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 man.
All right, man. Well, that's pretty much all the questions I've got. So, thanks a lot for coming
Sweet,
on.
that's cool, bro. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.